However, just keep in mind that we do not come back to Balboa Park. There's no more tours coming through except for the ones behind us that are already doing the tour throughout the city. So me and anyone ahead of me are not going to be coming back to Balboa Park. So this was your last chance to check out the area. You're going to have to come back on your own time after this. So just keep in mind, we are not doing the tour back to Balboa Park. Other than that, we're going on to our next destination, which is Little Italy. Little Italy is coming up next. So again, Little Italy will be coming up next. Now definitely get those cameras ready for everyone else on board who did not hop on here to check out the area. We're going to see some beautiful buildings in Spanish colonial style of architecture. Now we're going to date ourselves back to 1915 for this part of the stories. In 1915, we had a huge celebration called the California Panama Expo. We were celebrating the grand opening of the Panama Canal, which was a big deal for San Diego as a merchant location for seaside ports. Now, one of the original buildings here to the exposition is on your right-hand side. This huge pavilion is known as the Spreckles Organ Pavilion. Now, John Spreckles, the Monopoly guy himself, gave money to build it under the condition that we must have organ concerts every Sunday afternoon. If you were here earlier today, there was a concert just for a little bit, and they usually open the doors up and they show off the organ, play a couple of notes here and there just to kind of keep it going. And throughout the summer, there's also very long concerts too. Also, they have really cool during the summer too. They have every Friday and Saturday evenings from usually July until the end of August. They project silent films on the door, the big garage door, and they play the music for the actual film itself on the pipe organ. It is the world's largest outdoor pipe organ with a total of 5,017 pipes ranging in size from 1 inch to 32 feet tall. Now later in the years, they also added more pipes, but not to play the organ. Rather, it was steam pipe technology to play other instruments. So now the one organist who plays all 5,017 pipes, they also have a keyboard that they can add on that plays other instruments. They can play snare drum, bass drum, cymbals, xylophone, bells, triangles, you name it, they can play it. Pretty much, and a piano, of course. So it's pretty much a one-stop shop, a one man's orchestra. Pretty much is what that thing is. Now, since John Spreckles is the guy who donated the world's largest outdoor pipe organ, I guess you can technically say John Spreckles is therefore the world's largest organ donor. Now, when it comes to the Balboa Park area, we have only 4 buildings here that are original to the 1915 exposition. Now, everything else you see around you are all replicas that were built in around the 1970s or so. So basically, this is kind of what it kind of looked like in the 1915 Expo. The only difference is back then there were no roads. There was no car traffic anywhere in Balboa Park. All 1,400 acres were pedestrian access only, so only walking was allowed in this area. So what you see now, this is a pretty busy day, so maybe a few thousand people are out here, maybe a little bit more than that. But in the exposition days, you barely could even see the ground of how busy this thing was. It was basically a carnival for rich people. I mean, this was like a 2-year-long carnival, by the way, 1915 to 17. We had, for the first couple of days, we had 2 ex-presidents making speeches here on the Spreckles organ stage. We had William Taft and Teddy Roosevelt. Taft and Roosevelt were out and about here. And the first couple of days, we literally had 175,000 people in Balboa Park ready to go. Which is honestly, I mean, that's very, very, very busy, obviously, but that's not really the busiest this park has ever been. Literally, if you come out here at the beginning of December, we have a huge winter event called December Nights. It's the largest free public event for San Diegans, and Balboa Park usually sees a minimum of 300,000 people in 2 days. So it's usually like 250,000 each day, almost too. So most people do both days, so that's why it's only about 300,000 total. But very, 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 very busy for Balboa Park. Now, when it comes to the other historical buildings, so we already talked about one of the 4 buildings, so that means we got 3 more to go. You're going to kind of see on your right-hand side a very large brown birdcage-looking building. That is the Botanical Gardens of Balboa Park. And on your left-hand side, we have the California Tower, Cathedral, and Museum of Man building. That's on your left-hand side. So these are the 3 of the 4 original buildings. And we're going to talk about the last of the 4 here in just a few moments. Now, in 1935, many buildings were also built too, mostly theaters and the international cottages. But the theater that is mostly built in 35 is on your right-hand side. This is the Old Globe Theater coming up in this archway. Now, the Old Globe Theater today is home to mostly Shakespearean plays, as it is designed after the original Old Globe in London. However, in the winter month of December, the next couple of days, we have an annual tradition of having the musical How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You may get a chance to glance at their Whoville Christmas tree, their book-accurate Christmas tree from Whoville, the city of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. If you come out at night, by the way, especially tonight, all of the lights will be on. It's really, really neat, really beautiful. On your right, of course, is the Museum of Man. This is, again, part of that original building of the California Tower and Cathedral. Now we're currently going across the Rio National Bridge at the moment. This was originally a pedestrian bridge only. Now, when it comes to the first person driving a vehicle across, Franklin D. Roosevelt, FDR, was the first person to do so on record. Right below the bridge today is the 163 freeway, and although it is a freeway today, kind of like the original idea of what it was before. In the 1915 exposition, up until World War II, there was a man-made lake right below us. It was always stocked with fish, so people would go fishing all the time, and on top of that, people would go canoe racing as well. Now, in order to even go into the exposition days, you would have to go and get yourself a ticket. On your right and left-hand side, these are the last of the original buildings. On your right and left is the ticket booths of 1915. So you would go up to one of these booths, go through the gates, walk across the bridge, and go through the California Tower. Now, what did you find inside? Many things. You found arcade games, you got concert halls, dancing locations, concerts galore. You got the 2 ex-presidents for the first couple of days making speeches. You got circuses, animal menageries. I mean, you got literally every form of entertainment coming in from around the world. Now, before all of this happened, in the 1880s, San Diego was building up Balboa Park. Now, all the rich people in San Diego realized that Balboa Park is going to become something very, very popular, so may as well buy some of this land surrounding the park before it gets a little too expensive. So the Victorians in the 1880s, they decided, well, they got their businesses in downtown, may as well put the house right in the middle of Old Town, downtown. Let's go to put it right here in what is today called Bankers Hill, named after the original inhabitants. Bankers, doctors, lawyers, businessmen, entrepreneurs, you name it. You got money in the bank, you're in Bankers Hill. Now, back then, we used to have Victorian mansions on almost every square block. Every single corner we had a Victorian mansion. But in the 1960s and 70s, San Diego went through a reconstruction mode, and they decided that modern buildings were a little bit more beneficial. Well, 90% of the Victorian homes were demolished, and 10% were left behind, only because they were bought by private institutions or individuals themselves, and they decided to save them. Now, we only will see a couple of these mansions on this loop here. My favorite is the Long Waterman Mansion, 1887 on your right-hand side. Now, this home currently is owned by a business that uses it as a storage home, a storage area. They also have their offices on the upper floors. But when it comes to the first owner of the home, 1887, it was our mayor of San Diego. And he also had a really good friend later on in the years. Some of you will recognize the name of a jeweler, Tiffany. Tiffany's, well, every single glass window was a custom-made Tiffany glass. Every single glass pane is currently original today. All Tiffany glass, original Tiffany glass windows. Very, very expensive, I can only imagine, and even more so nowadays since they're still original. and I really hope no kids play any baseball in the nearby area. That would just be a crying shame. Now, in order to get to Little Italy, we have to go through a small area I like to call San Francisco Simulator. So if you've never been to San Fran, you no longer have to go and visit. This is basically all you will have to look forward to, that is. So pretty much this is San Francisco. Yeah, we've got a bunch of clouds in the sky. We went across a big bridge today. We are on a trolley on a steep hill. So that's pretty much your entire experience in San Francisco. And it's a little warmer here and a little less expensive, just by a little bit, So there you go. There's, I saved you so much money, you no longer have to visit. You can just mark it right off your list. Now, almost perfect timing. We got the sun coming down to the horizon here pretty soon. It'll be setting in about a little less than maybe 45 minutes or so. But we got the San Diego Harbor ahead of us, got Point Loma across the bay, beautiful views of course. San Diego Harbor has some of the best weather year-round. In fact, that's what is traditionally known for San Diego. Is about 73 degrees Fahrenheit is our average yearly temperature. Of course, during the winter time, we can get down to the Arctic tundras of course, according to my thermostat, 60 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Penguin temperatures, basically, is what we call it. I mean, I'm wearing 4 layers, it's still cold. But 60 degrees, that's not that bad compared to other parts of the United States right now, especially Montana. But when it comes to the temperatures, though, we do get a guarantee from scientists of about 300 days a year of sunshine. 300 days a year of sunshine doesn't really ever below the 60 mark, except for a couple of weeks here and there in the winter time. We did dip below 60s here last couple of days. We got into the 50s actually, which was just that's just terrible. People are dying of hypothermia. And then tonight, of course, actually is supposed to be 48 degrees here at the waterfront, and during the mornings about the same as well before it gets up to 61 again. So we can't really complain compared to anywhere else. It does get pretty warm from June through about October. October is now the official hottest month of San Diego. It used to be August, but it kind of fluctuated down a couple months. October tends to be in about the late 90s, upper 90s degrees, and with very high humidity levels as well. So it's pretty stuffy, pretty warm outside. Of course, it does get pretty cold, and as I mentioned, it can get as low as about maybe 44 degrees. And we never dip below 40s though here in the waterfront of San Diego. Now, if you aren't interested in seeing the snow, some of you are sick of the snow, that's why you left and that's why you're here right now, but other people kind of enjoy the snow. Well, you can go and visit it. We do still have snow in our mountains at the moment, and if you want to drive, it's a nice 45 to 50-minute drive on the 8 East Freeway to Julian. It's the city right behind the county lines of San Diego. You just go on the 8 East Freeway, it'll take you straight up to the snow, and it's about, like I said, 45 or so minutes. Now, after the snow, you can get back onto the car and go onto the freeway, the 8 West Freeway. 45 minutes later, you're back on the beach at 61 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can literally go to the snow and the beach the exact same day and on the exact same freeway. Now, we're coming into Little Italy at the moment. Little Italy, San Diego, one of the largest Little Italys in the United States of America. By size, that is, not by population. If you were to measure the whole area, it takes up 60 square blocks of downtown. 60 square blocks of downtown. So that's if you were to take the Little Italys in St. Louis, San Francisco, and one of the Little Italys in New York, combine the 3 together, San Diego's Little Italy is larger than all 3 of those combined by size, that is. Now, about 2.5 years ago, Little Italy wanted to build the Piazza del Figlio on the right-hand side, the family plaza. This used to be a street that went all the way across, but they decided, no, we're just going to go ahead and build a little community so you can kind of, sit down, get a cappuccino or something, and just kind of relax for a little bit. And it looks like we got the start of the street performers out there. Some of the trumpets playing. So looks like they got some street performers out about the piazza. We're coming into the Little Italy area here pretty soon. So if anyone wants to come and check out the Little Italy area, this is your last chance to do so on the tour-wise. The last trolley of the day, of course, is at 4:30 p.m. However, you don't necessarily have to worry about all of that. If you do want to stay here longer, if you have our free map brochure that says Free Map San Diego on it. The last page is where the schedules are. There is literally a Lyft coupon if you download, or if you haven't already downloaded the Lyft app, you just punch in OTTSD and you'll get yourself a ride credit that you can use towards getting back to wherever you started. So even if you want to end your day here or not end your day here, but you still want to check it out, you're more than welcome to punch it in and don't worry about the trolley. Get some food here. This is the beginning of the dinner rush pretty soon. If you look straight ahead through my windshield, by the way, it shows you how close we are to one of our other stops. That's the Embarcadero. That's